Good morning. Welcome to today's Money Momentum Coaching. I'm Teresa with August Consulting Group, and today we're talking about how to establish a company culture. And we're going to go over the 5 top tips for doing so. Now, remember, company culture is the culture within your practice, within your walls, within your business. It impacts the client, but that's the result. The company culture is going to involve you and your support team. So let's just dive right in. Number 1 is going to be compensation and incentive. So you all have heard me coach on this before. I cannot stress this to you enough. That's why I keep talking about it. But being able to pay your team fairly for their hard work shows that you're investing in them, and they're going to feel that and reciprocate. So make sure that you're not just paying the bare minimum. If you're going to pay the bare minimum, you're going to get the bare minimum of work. Why should they invest in you if you're not investing in them? And when I say the bare minimum of work, that means they just do what their job says to do, and then they clock out and they're gone. They're never going to go above and beyond for you. Why should they? You're not doing that for them. Remember, you are where you are because of your support team. You couldn't do what you do without them. So show them that you appreciate them and their hard work. Invest into them. And then establish incentive programs like bonus programs. I work a lot with financial advisors and financial planners. So a lot of times we're talking about, net flows and reaching certain goals in GDC. But this really applies to anybody. Set your goals with your team. Establish a bonus structure or an incentive program based upon their number of years with you and how much work or what they actually do for your team. And then try and avoid that mindset of where, they're not revenue generating, so, you're not going to invest as much into them. That it would be incorrect thinking, because what they do for you is almost as important, if not more important, than a position that's revenue generating. Their revenue retention. You can go out there and build all kind of clients you want. You can build that client book all you want to. But if you cannot service them, you will not keep them. You can build the revenue coming in, but if you can't keep it going, if you can't make that client happy, you're not going to keep that revenue very long, are you? Their revenue retention, that's important. You cannot do what you do without them. So again, compensation and incentives. Okay, number 2, having an open door policy. Now, we hear this all the time. Oh, we've got an open door policy. Do you really? Or do you have an open door, but then when they come in, you're not really listening, or you're offended by what they say, or maybe they step on your ego perhaps? We want to have an open door policy where we're really listening, where we're wanting our employees to shine. We want them to feel free to come to us with whatever's on their mind. That includes maybe some suggestions on how to improve processes and procedures. We want that, right? That's going to benefit us, because if our processes and procedures are smooth, that leaves room for us to do more business, for us to grow. And who doesn't want that? That's fantastic. But then make sure when they're bringing these suggestions to you, give them the credit. Let the team know, look, so-and-so gave us this amazing suggestion. I feel we should implement this. And then it's going to just further build their momentum as a team, because they know that they can come to you and say, this isn't working so well. We have a suggestion. They're the ones doing the work. Wouldn't they be the best resource for those processes and procedures to get that feedback, to get their suggestions? Of course. Now, the other piece when I was talking about ego is, remember something. Sometimes the feedback is not great, right? Sometimes we need to improve ourselves. Sometimes there's feedback on something we need to do differently, right? And so when that happens and the feedback's not so good, and maybe it's a little criticism, step back, pay attention, and look and try to determine where this is coming from. Are they saying this because we're making it really difficult for them to do their job and we may lose them and they're a good employee? Wouldn't it be worth to maybe stop and think, oh, maybe I do that. Maybe I do need to make some adjustment here or some adjustment there. Thank them for their bravery to come in and talk to you, because that's not easy to go to your boss and say, hey, boss, you're driving me crazy, right? So it is very important for us to put our listening ears on, pay attention, give them the credit where credit is due, let them feel like the environment is collaborative, and then also be open to criticism so that we can make improvement and retain those really good employees. Okay, so number 3 is to be reasonable. We want to be reasonable when it comes to workload, workflow, our expectations. What are we asking from our team? Are we just overworking them and then sending them home at the end of the day? Or do we really know, are we really cognizant of the amount of time that it takes to do what we're asking them to do? Are we putting them on the spot? Are we building a culture or a place where it's impossible to meet the deadlines because there's just too many deadlines, or we don't have enough time to meet those deadlines? Whatever the case may be reasonable in your dealings with your employees. Be cognizant of what they're doing for you, how much time it takes to do that. Which kind of leads me to number 4, and that is to get in the trenches with your team. There's always going to be peaks and valleys in business where at some periods of time throughout the year is going to be more busy than others, or maybe we become shorthanded, or maybe something just explodes and we've got a problem on our hands in a good way or a bad way. Either way, be willing to roll up your sleeves and get in the trenches with your team to do whatever needs to be done in order to get them past that hurdle, past that hump. Don't ever have the attitude that you're too good to do what they do. You're too good to do what they're doing, because what might happen is you lose those employees and you're doing it all yourself. And then you're in the trenches all alone. We don't want that, do we? No, be willing to roll up your sleeves, get in the trenches with your team, and help them get past that hurdle and step back into the role that you are in, and focus on the things you want to focus on. Number 5 is going to be to set a value system for your team. Sit down, have a conversation, find out what everybody values. Is it work-life balance? Is it maybe a mental health day here and there? Is it maybe more team building exercises? Some may want to go outside the office for team building, some may not. Some may appreciate their time at home more than they appreciate their time with the people they work with every day, right? They may spend more time with their family. Find out what makes them tick and establish that as a team. Take the top values that you see amongst your team and adopt that into your company culture. Okay, I know this was a lot to go through really fast, but again, those 5 tips for establishing a winning company culture is compensation and incentives. Make sure you're competitive. Number 2, having an open door policy where you really, really listen, to be reasonable about what you're asking from your team. Number 4 is, again, to get in the trenches when you need to get in the trenches and step back out when you don't. And then number 5, to establish that value system. Find out exactly what is important to your team and to yourself and make that a part of your culture. All right, very good. I hope that you all have a great rest of your week. Keep that positive momentum going. Please, follow us on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube, and we would really appreciate the support there. If you need a one-on-one, reach out to me and we'll schedule some time. Thanks so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.